Most families buy their meat in plastic packages. On our homestead, we still do that too. But the plastic packaging comes after we hunt, harvest, and process the meat ourselves. Today we're going to be showing you exactly how we turn a deer from the field into meat that feeds our family for the entire year. This is not a trophy video. This is about stewardship, self-reliance, and making the most out of every part of the animal. My husband is going to walk you through exactly how we break down the deer, the cuts that we prefer, how we package it, and a few of the tips that we've learned along the way as we've processed our deer for years. If you're trying to be more self-sufficient, or if you're just curious about how families like ours handle wild game from start to finish, then this video will help you understand the process. All right, let's head inside and I'll let my husband take over from here.
Okay, so another way that we save money is during deer season, we shoot a lot of deer and we put up a lot of deer meat for the year. So instead of using beef, we use majority deer meat. First, I'm gonna do my back straps. And what we normally do with our back straps is we'll cut them up into steaks, or I will cut them up in sections and bag them in two to a bag, and I'll put them on a grill or do them like a stuffed pork loin or something. Slice it up, butterfly it down the middle, stuff it with cream cheese, and wrap it with bacon, and put it on the grill. But today I think I'm just going to do a couple tender steaks because we do a lot of those, and I'm gonna bag some up whole. But I'm gonna start with my back straps and my inner loins. And the inner loins, I normally cook them on the steak. They're similar to cooking a fillet. All right, so what I like to do is just to have more room, I go ahead and cut it in half. All right, and a lot of people who say they don't like deer meat, 9 times out of 10, what it is people didn't prepare it right and they left all the silver skin on the deer. That'll make it very tough and give it a real nasty taste. There's nothing good about silver skin or deer fat. I don't care, some people have their opinions that, oh, once you make a roast or something, put it in a crock pot, it renders down and you don't taste it. I tested it a bunch of different ways, and me personally, I don't like it. I want it all off. And you'll see when I get done, some people take their deer meat, and growing up, it was kill a deer, pack them up in the cooler with ice water, and put them in the back of your truck right around for a week, get the blood out. There's no blood in muscle. So all you're doing is watering down your meat, and it takes away the flavor. I personally like to keep them in the cooler, packed with ice for probably 4 to 7 days, but with the drain plug open. A lot of times my back, so that they're not sitting in water, but a lot of times my back strap, if I have time, I'll take them, put them in a Ziploc, and get all the air out, and I'll put them in the fridge for a week. But I'm going to work, back to work tomorrow, so I don't have time, so you'll see the difference in how red this meat is compared to if you've seen somebody that kept it submerged in water. But the first thing I do is I take that little piece of hard tissue off right here, just tough. That's what runs along the spine. Kind of hard from this angle, but just try to get right up under it. You're gonna lose sometimes just a little bit of meat, but it's not enough to notice a difference. You just want to take your time and barely get that blade up under that silver skin. And the bottom side of the back strap, this is the side that sits along the rib and the backbone. It's not too bad. I really don't worry about it just being absolutely perfect on the bottom. I just try to get majority of it off, or any blood clots like that piece right there. for this side, some people will make a cut right here about the size that they want a tender steak to be, and they'll cut all the way to the silver skin, and then they'll fillet it like a fish along there. I don't do that just because I'm not good enough at it. I always lose too much meat. So just go right up under there, and you want to get where you can kind of see that blade. You know, you're right there on it. You got the steak. Well, that's all I do. And then some people, they like thinner steaks. I like mine just a little bit thicker. I cut them about a ½ inch or so. But you can see if you soaked that in ice water, you'd have a white ring all the way around the outside where you just water bathed it. That's how meat should look. You don't take a steak. When you get a ribeye or something from the store, you don't soak it in ice water. It's red meat. Then on this bottom portion, I think this is a part of muscle that comes off the neck, but you can tell that this piece here is not part of the actual back strap. I just open it up and you can see that clear line that runs down through there. Just follow that line and cut off. And I'll take that piece, I'll clean it up, and I'll just throw it in my trim pile to go for hamburger. That's all it is. And while I got it already set up like this, this is the inner loin. This is what I mainly use for steaks. This is very similar to the filet mignon in a cow. It does really great on the grill. You just cook it just like your steak, medium rare. Don't overcook this or it'll get tough. All deer is supposed to be cooked medium rare. If you overcook it, that's when it gets really tough and you'll lose a lot of flavor. That's all I do to it. I might take this little piece of silver skin out right here. That's it. And you hear people talking about how lean deer is. Deer meat's very lean. All right, if you take a steak, you got marbling in it. There's no marbling in that. That's just meat. So that's why when you grind it, you have to add pork trimmings or sometimes we use a Boston butt, depending on if the store has any trimmings or not. We will use a Boston butt. I kind of think I like the Boston butt a little better. Some people don't mix nothing with it. They like the leanness of it. I personally do not. Alright, so now I'll show you what I do to tenderize them. I don't have a tenderizer. You can use a cup, but or a mallet, but I don't like the way it flattens them out. I just use a fork. And by the time I get done with this, I'm sure my fingers will be bleeding because I always stab myself. But that's all you gotta do, and I promise you, that's all it takes. Some people don't even do this, but I got kids, they can't sit there and chew on it. But that's all it takes. I'm gonna go through this big old bowl of tender steaks that I got, and then I'll show you how I bag it up. Another thing that I do, I try to trim some of them up and go ahead and have them cut up and prep for deer steak. So if I come home late from work, I can just unthaw it and throw it in some milk for a minute and it's ready to fry. It just makes it so much quicker. You ain't spending time when you're trying to cook. But some of them I just cut up and clean up in little sections like this, and I'll vacuum seal them whole in case I wanted to use them for something else. But if I have time, majority of what we eat is normally fried. So I tend to cut most of them up and bag them in portion size bags. And when you cut that line off from the bottom side, it opens it up to where you can get your blade up under it a lot easier than the top. So when you're sliding your blade under it, you feel it if you start getting too high and getting into that silver skin. It'll hold you up a little bit. But if I had the option, my favorite thing to do, we had a fridge that went out one time, the freezer still worked. So I drilled holes in and it was just a side-by-side freezer was on one side, double door, fridge, freezer. I drilled holes in the center wall of it, and I put me some hanging racks in there, and I would let my meat hang for a week. And I think aging it like that made a world of difference in how tender it was. So hopefully one day I'll be able to build me a walk-in cooler so I can do that. So like, that's good meat. It'll just go to my trim pile. And it'll go in the burger. Since this piece is a little thinner, excuse me, what I'll do is the next back strap I do, I'll take the same size portion and I'll freeze them two together. That way if I wanted to grill them, I have two pieces of the same size, and I'll just take this piece. Now they're gonna look at you. Take this piece and I'll put it in the tender steak pile. And some of this, if you're in a rush trying to get it picked up, you don't have to sit here and trim everything as well as I do. And I'm not gonna continue this way. I got too much meat to put up. You can do it, you can get it pretty cleaned up, and if you want to come back right before you cook it and trim up some more, you can. You want to get the majority off of it. That way when you go to cook it, you're not having to deal with all that. You don't want to spend an hour before you go to cook. Look at the difference. This deer has been in the cooler for 4 days. This one was 2 days. This one's had some water hit it. Look at the difference. That's why I try to keep the water off my meat. But I'll take them 2 pieces and I'll vacuum seal them 2 together. But I'm gonna finish up doing these back straps. I'm gonna do everything the same way I've been doing them, and then I'll go to a different portion. So now these are the front shoulders, and I normally cook these on the grill and smoke them and make like pulled pork out of them, or tacos, anything like that. And I'm not gonna get these perfect. I'm just gonna get majority of it off. Standing here forever. And I'll clean it up some more right before I cook it. And you just kind of follow, go around that knuckle. But that's all it is to that. I'll clean it up some more before I go to cook. But just keep doing the same thing, get all the silver skin off. Alright, so I got to thinking, I'm about out of freezer bags, so I'm gonna break this front shoulder down and to do it in the hamburger. But went ahead and trimmed everything off. You got a bone that runs through here. Section meats and another section. This here would be, I think it'd be flat iron. So you just get it on there and follow that bone, pull it and cut it away from it, and it'll fillet right out of there. Iron. And you can grill that piece like a steak as well. But let's break down your front shoulder. All right, so now we're gonna break down hind quarter, and I'll show you the 3 main muscle groups that are important to me. You'll see other portions that I cut out that I don't talk about, but I just trim those up and they go to ground. If you want a full explanation, whatever, of what everything is, there's other videos I like to watch, like the Bearded Butcher, where he'll give you a full breakdown on everything. But when I was working at the processor, these are the main ones that we went with. But you can see every muscle group has its own, it all pulls apart. Everything separates. So it's really easy to follow along. All right, and right here, this is your bottom round. This is your eye round. And if you see right there, that is a gland. I don't know if you can really see it. That little gray thing with the fat around it, that's a gland. And that's the gland that you hear everybody talking about that you need to get out. Some people say, oh, when you cook it down, you don't taste it. No, get it out. It'll ruin it. You can see it right there. Get that out of there. About time to sharpen my knife again, but another thing I like about when you dry age your meat is dry, so you're not fighting all this wet tissue and I don't even know what you call this slimy junk. I didn't take deer AMP, but that's your eye round, and that's the one I like to use. It grill it like a steak, or you can cut it up into little medallions. But that was off a bigger deer. I mean, that's one off a hind quarter I already did. It's a little smaller. But you got this is your bottom round. It can be a little bit tougher. I use it for roast, or if you want to use it for steaks, you can. Just make sure you cut across the grain. And make it a little more tender. But depending on how much burger and stuff we have, or roast that we already have, sometimes I will just cut it up and use it as tender steaks. We eat a lot of tender steaks. It seems like every time somebody comes over, that's what we want to do, is fry deer meat. So I try to make sure we always have plenty when we have cookouts. But like everything else, get all the silver skin and your fats out off of it. And some of these smaller cuts that you'll see, there's still some meat, like on that one. Well, there's a couple more that I'll pull off. of that bottom round that I'll just throw to the side. You probably won't see me really do anything with it. I will trim it up and it'll go to ground as well. And some of these pieces, there might be a little bit of meat left on, and some of them are like, oh, you're wasting it. We're not wasting it. It'll either go, it don't really bother me, because I'm either gonna probably give it to my dog or it'll go to the chicken, so it won't go to waste. Something will eat it. Just one less scoop of feed you gotta give something if you're feeding it meat. And I know people who feed nothing but deer meat to their dogs, or any kind of raw meat. If we didn't have to eat so much of it, I would do the same. But that's your bottom round. That's I'm not really sure what you call it. Ground meat, what that is. All right, this is probably my favorite roast. I call this going to football. So you'll see. It looks just like a football. And none of this is hard. It's a little time consuming, and when you first start, if you ain't ever done it, just take your time and you'll figure it out. Don't be intimidated of it by no means, because it's not rocket science. It just takes a few times to do it. I just get the majority of the big stuff that I can get, and then, like this one, I know it's going in a roast, so it will be cooked down, but I just want the silver skin off the other side. Like I said, I will prep a little more before I go to cook a lot of times, but I just try to get the majority of it off. That make it a lot easier on me when I come home and in a hurry to cook. I'd have to warm my hands up and get numb. Yep, that's all that one is. Then you got just a little cap. I forget what you call this. It's on top of the top round. As you can see, it's all just connected by tissue. Some of these different parts people use for jerky or stew meat. I mean, you really can't go wrong. You can do just about whatever you want to with it. Any part of this. Just some parts are a little bit tougher. I think some of them have a little bit more flavor. But if I was going to use one of the any portion of this for put on the grill and low and cook it slow, it would be this portion, which is your top round. As long as you cut against the grain and cook it slow and don't overcook it, you can make just about every piece of this pretty tender. All this right here will go to grind. These smaller pieces with all the tissue, and they can be a little trickier just because they're so slimy, hard to get your hands on. But I promise you, you can, some people just take that and will throw that in the grinder. But if you take the time to clean most of this stuff off, I promise you, you'll taste a huge difference in your meat. Some people will argue till you blue in the face about it. But I've done it both ways. I used to throw it all in the grinder. And then once I started doing it on my own and stopped listening to everybody else, and tried it for myself, I seen the difference. You know, Grandpa would, oh, you wasting all that? No, I'd rather waste a little bit and have better quality than a bunch of junk. But that's the reason most people do not like the taste of deer meat. and some of my animals will appreciate it. So nothing will go to waste. It'll all be ate by something. Try this piece up in a second. But your main 3 breakdown points: football, top round, and your bottom round. Then you have your eye round. Medallions or steaks, roast, or you can do steaks or roast. That's my favorite one for a roast. Or you can cut this all up and you can use it all for ground meat, whichever you want to do. All right, so now I'm going to prep these bags. All I'm doing there is melting that opening in this bag. This sealer I got, I don't know, sometimes it doesn't seal very great. So I just go ahead and I seal it twice each time with the manual seal. But I ended up having, always check your seal on there. Sometimes I'll go out there and go to grab one and one of the seals didn't do good. I had 120 pieces that I cut up. I went ahead and tenderized 40. The rest of them I'm going to leave as is. Hopefully. And I just guess on these bags. Hopefully this ain't gonna be too small, but running short on bags, but I'm gonna put 20 in each bag. All right. Sometimes my math ain't math, so I gotta double check. And I like using the vacuum sealer just because it does a lot better job. It thaws out faster and it don't take up as much room. I can stack everything in there a lot better. So you can fit a lot more stuff in your freezer whenever you vacuum seal it. But you also want to make sure you don't have a lot of excess moisture in here. As you can see the way it pulls up. And I've done it before where it had too much moisture to where it never sealed. But just always go back and double check your seals and make sure you don't have no big air pockets in there, gaps. So that bag's done. I got one more for the tender steaks that I've already tenderized, and I'll label them as such. And then the rest of them I'll just bag up. I should have 6 bags when I'm done. And then I guess we got some mineral loins to bag up and then some back straps that I'm gonna leave whole. All right, these are the back straps I left whole. And I don't know why I wasn't thinking, I guess I just got excited because these back straps were so big, but normally the bigger deer, older deer that I kill, I use them as for tender steaks, and I like the younger deer for leaving whole to put on the grill, which these will probably end up being tender steaks as well. But the younger deer is just gonna be a little more tender. That if I cook that one, it might just be a little bit tougher. So normally I like to use my younger deer for cooking as a whole steak. All right, so we had 3 deer. I got 3 front shoulders. The rest I put in the hamburger. But we got 1, 2, 3 roasts, 6 packs of tenderized steak, that have 20 in each pack. There's 3 inner loins. I got the other 3 laid out for supper. And let's see, top round. So there's 2 more that can be used for steaks or roast. Eye rounds can be used for steak, roast, whichever you want to do. And then we have 2 big bowls of hamburger. And depending on how much trimming we put in there, this will go up 25. I'll probably do 25 to 30% trimming per pound. I'm not sure how many pounds it is, but that's a lot of meat. And I also have a roast sitting to the side over here that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and prep it for supper one night this week. And I might do some videos on that, just showing one of the ways that we do roast. But here he is. It's a lot of work, but that's a lot of meat. And all this come off of public land. The only thing I'm out of pocket is my license that I'm gonna buy anyway, on fuel, the hunting equipment that I already have. I mean, that there is gonna save us a lot of money, and we're probably gonna hopefully get 4 or 5 more this year. I mean, so that's why we don't have to buy beef. So if you harvest a couple deer, you can put everything up yourself. And that's like we got online today to order some stuff from Walmart, and they had nothing. So when the grocery store fails you, the woods won't. But I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, just shoot us a message, and I'll do the best I can to answer them.